This project has been in Genesis for a number of years, actually, and it's part of an ongoing collaboration that Pentagram's had with Cass Art. And I think I've been badgering Mark on a specific bag, this one we have here, and the design of it for at least 7 years, as a kind of upgrade on the existing Cass Art coloured bags. This particular tote bag is slightly different to your average tote bag. It has to be said, it's great that the world is using more and more sustainable materials in tote bags rather than, and plastic bags are slowly disappearing from everyday usage on the high street. So we were conscious that we should be following, that principle of using sustainable materials, but then to add just a tad more to the use and experience of having a tote bag and to integrate it into the idea of art materials. I think it's very interesting when we consider that the tote bag it's a quasi-fashion item, if you like. Although Cass Art is not selling apparel, it's selling artist materials, there is a connection between trends and fashions and the usage of colour throughout art history that's sort of equally applicable, if you like, to fashion. So there was a thought that we could borrow a little bit of that sensibility, if you like, and to add that into the world of artist materials. I mean, Cass Art essentially is like a cross between a candy store and a hardware store, if you like. And so that principle still runs through the canvas bags that we've been working on with Mark. I think marketing departments have cottoned on, if I can use that pun, to the idea that the tote bag is a useful piece of merch since its lifespan is considerably more than that of a plastic bag. However, I think if they languish in the back of a cupboard, then the carbon footprint of that said tote bag exceeds that of any plastic bag. So we are very conscious of the idea that we create totes that have a secondary or tertiary usage beyond bringing your art materials home from the Cass Art store. So this year we are not only creating the identity for the London Design Festival, which we usually call the LDF, we were also contributors in the form of an exhibition, which is these bags here form part of an exhibition called Bags of Art and Design, which is a sort of a slight renaming of Bags of Ethics, one of our principal supporters and manufacturers of these particular bags.
So the design process was relatively simple. We started off with 2D drawings, looking at the layout of the pockets, and in parallel we looked at the physical details like the attachment of the handles, how thick the bags were, so the gussets and the structure of the bag, and little details like the attachment of the logo. And then we moved on to looking at different ideas around what the pockets could hold. So the starting point was to look at the A3 bag, A4, A5 and A6 pockets. And then later on we started going into things like, could the pocket hold a tube of paint? Could the pocket hold a roller from a lino kit? With the idea that the bags could almost become objects that represent the walls of a workshop or the walls of the Cass Art stores with all these wonderful products. Yeah, so after the 2D drawings, the next stages we made just really simple fabric mock-ups here in our workshop. So we were just looking at, this one was for a series of tubes of paint. So we're just looking at the sizing and the proportions, and then gradually moving on to more physical bags, that have straps. And then once we were happy with these and we were starting to test them with sketchbooks of different sizes and sort of understanding how the pockets worked, we then sent these over to India, to Bags of Ethics, so that they could start to work on production samples. Yeah, I mean, one of the things with industrial design is, it's all about having the physical thing in your hand. So, even though it probably would have been possible to develop these using drawings, For us, it was just really fundamental to make something. So we do have a really well-equipped workshop here with all sorts of machines, including sewing machines. But yeah, we wanted to wear the bags and put sketchbooks in them to understand the length of the handle. And that was just so fundamental, not only to refining the design, but also to get the design signed off, both with Angus and with Mark Cass, and then provide really concrete information to Bags of Ethics for the prototyping. From Angus's initial sketch, which he left on my desk, and then working with my team, resketching every different version of the bag, and then prototyping, and then drawing all these up in CAD to brief the factory, I think it was about sort of 6 to 9 months actually of on-off work. And in parallel, Angus was developing all the graphic design aspect, the colours, all the fantastic line work. So the project in total was, the creative part was about 6 to 9 months. One of the things that really brought the project to life was when Cass Art delivered lots of art materials, so different sketchbooks, different sizes, watercolour pads, watercolour paintbrushes, lino rollers, rulers, and then we started developing the pockets to fit the different sizes of pads, and then we started developing the materials bags for the paintbrushes and for the paints and rulers and things like that. And then once we developed those designs and we got them into a form that we were happy with, we sent that whole pack to India, to the factory, so that they could then start replicating that in a manufacturable way, because our prototypes were development prototypes. But then there was a fantastic dialogue then with everybody in the factory on the exact weight of stitching, the exact type of cotton that we were using, the exact way we were going to hem the edges, and of course all the print processes, the weight of the material for the handles, and then on top of that, where the material was coming from, using recycled material, using dead stock material to make these as sustainable as possible. Yeah, I would say the end result looks very simple and clean, but the process of working with the factory took a great deal of time, and we had to learn a lot because we had our idea of what was possible, but then there's lots of things about making tote bags which are very technical, and how to make them at volume. They were things that we had to learn in the process. So we began this fantastic dialogue with the factory, where we were sending samples, getting samples back, photographing them, making notes, sending them back, getting another batch, and that process went on for sort of another 6 to 9 months after the initial design process.
Looking at the bags that were exhibited in the London Design Festival, they're split broadly into 2 types, one of which deals with formats, the ones on the left-hand side here, and the 6 on the right specifically about artist materials. For the bags that were used for different formats, and you could put different size sketchbooks, etc. in them, we were using materials that were supplied, colours that were supplied by Bag of Ethics, which would be called dead stock, as it were. And we're essentially taking that and upcycling it. So then it was a question of what was available and how we mixed the colours together to form pleasing compositions within those specific formats. So that idea sort of got pulled through to the manufactured bag, which is the one that's available at Cass Art stores, which is essentially a combination of these patch pockets in colour, but these are, because they're manufactured at scale, they're using specifically dyed stocks. Now those dyed stocks are actually as close as we can get to artist colours that are available in artist materials, oils and acrylics, etc. So you'll see that the inner pocket here, it says French ultramarine. So the colour of this is French ultramarine, this is Prussian blue, and this is cerulean blue.
So the collaboration which we had with Cass Arts and Pentagram was quite exciting for us, because we were able to sort of bring out some of the most important aspects of our business, which is the ethical supply chain, ensuring that we produce sustainable materials and try and reduce plastic bags over the years.
What's been very exciting about the collaboration between Pentagram, CAS and Bags of Ethics is that there were 3 companies at the top of their game in terms of design, of art retail and manufacturing sustainably. And the 3 parties coming together was an intellectual set of fireworks in the best possible way. We had industrial designers talking to our factory who were very, very technical and who really appreciated the dialogue that someone so technical and so experienced in industrial design could lend to the factory. And I think you enjoyed the discussion that our team in India had. And it brings together the most important message of Bags of Ethics, which is respecting every single member of the supply chain, right from the designers to the production team, to the end retailer. And then for the consumer, it was wonderful for an amazing festival like London Design Festival to showcase the work, which you beautifully programmed in this visual way. And it brought the importance of why this product is such an integral part and actually can change consumer behaviour in a more sustainable way, but also in understanding more about the supply chain and respecting every member of it. So for us, it was the perfect collaboration.
But this project will live on. That's the key, because not only the humble tote bag has been moved up a notch to basically make sure that you can take home your art materials, but we will continue to celebrate every year basically not only Pentagram, Bag of Ethics and CAS Art's investment in this project by making sure that we take one of these bags and put it into production for as long as we can.